Hello and welcome, and in this lecture we are going to discuss what memory is. So firstly, what is memory? Well, memory is a piece of hardware that allows computers to store information. Random access memory is your computer's main memory. Programs can read and write information here. Read-only memory is a form of memory that can only be read from. We will now discuss the differences between the two. So RAM is a writable memory and can be written or read from. RAM is only used for temporary storage, and all data in RAM is lost when you power down your computer. So when would you use RAM? Well, you would use RAM when you write a program that deals with variables, for example. Whenever you program in C and you have a program that stores, 50 in variable A, 50 is actually getting stored in your computer's memory, your computer's RAM. When you power down your computer, that 50 in RAM is gone forever. Now let's explain read-only memory. Read-only memory cannot be written to through normal means. Read-only memory is permanent storage and will maintain its data after power loss. So whenever you shut down your computer, the ROM will always be the exact same when you boot it back up. So you generally use ROM when creating programs for embedded devices. For example, the microcontroller in your kettle that senses when the kettle is getting too hot and needs to turn the power off would have read-only memory. That read-only memory would contain the program that the kettle uses to check the thermostat. Upon turning your kettle back on, that read-only memory gets executed. In your home computer, your BIOS is stored on a ROM. We'll discuss more about the BIOS in another video. But your BIOS is actually stored on a ROM and it never changes. It does not matter how many times you turn your computer on and off, the BIOS will always remain the same because it's stored on read-only memory. This is a picture of a BIOS ROM chip on a motherboard. Another thing you should be aware of is that memory is generally accessed in a linear fashion. For example, you might say read from memory address 50. This will then read from memory address 50. You might say read from memory address 62. It will then read from memory address 62. The data is stored in order, in a linear fashion. However, when accessing memory through the use of your processor, please bear in mind the processor has different types of memory schemes. It has segmentation and so on. There's different ways to access memory through your processor. But when talking to memory directly, usually the memory is read in a linear fashion. Please don't worry too much about this stuff because we will discuss more about how the processor accesses the memory as the course progresses.